Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. We'll be starting soon. Hello everybody. Happy New Year. Hello everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to episode 77
Wow.
of PinTech Live. Yeah,
77.
already.
That's an
We've done
angel
way more
number.
than 77 episodes.
We would have been at
Let's
80.
make that clear. But 77 official PinTech Live teching
Shh.
episodes.
It's not a word.
Teching.
It's not a word.
We are here to talk about
everyone.
the FGC,
What's that?
the fighting game community, because it's a fighting game.
Oh yeah, we're teching.
Yeah,
teching.
this is an FGC broadcast right now. This is Tekken.
So as y'all can see, we have Kim Martinez with us today at the studio because we are going to talk about teching on location. And Kim has a lot of former experience of working at a very pristine location. Mitch, can you turn off the autofocus on the Sony camera?
Do you remember
They
how to
just
do
went
that,
like
Steve?
super Casablanca blurry.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I think
actually.
I look really good right now, honestly.
As he does that, I'm gonna go ahead and let everyone know that
never mind.
next week.
I thought that was a
Next
mistake.
week, we are going to be doing a very special PinTech Live episode. We're bringing back Godzilla. We just got our Godzilla Premium all set up, and it has some of the coolest mechs we've seen in pinball. So we wanted to bring in lead engineer Harrison Drake back onto the show and do a deep dive into the game that, oh, he's still doing it. Do a deep dive into the game.
There's another camera. Well, let me help Steve really quick.
Who said Mama Kim? I can't read. I can't read that far.
Sup, Mama Kim, Casey Relford.
Oh, what's up? How you?
Kim's here on our show today.
Amoto sounds so distant.
So yeah, everyone, remember to tune in next Thursday for PinTech Live. We'll have Harrison Drake from Stern Pinball with us, and we'll look underneath the pinball machine and get some cool insight in what it took to make this epic game.
Yes. Hey, try that camera again. See if it is focused better. Yeah, okay, that's good.
Oh, you guys look great.
No, I'm just joking.
It was.
This is probably the first and last time you guys are gonna.
Hey TJ, thanks for joining us.
Okay.
What's up, you guys?
Retro Gaming with Hoppers here.
Yeah, I'm
Mr.
excited
Baxter.
I'm excited to look at Godzilla with Harrison. We've spoken to Harrison a few times. Actually, no, I think we only talked to Harrison when we did the Avengers.
One
right?
time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah, Harrison's a cool dude. He's worked at Stern for a while, and this game, like Amoto said, has some really neat things going on. So it'll be exciting to jump in.
Hello, Joel. Thanks for joining us. Yep, and another thing is our PinTech Live code is active and back on track. 24-hour code for free domestic ground shipping for orders over $99 and $10 off international shipping for orders over $99. Use code in all caps PT-on location, because that's what this episode is all about, right?
So if we were making that code like yesterday or right now in Moto, what would you rather have that free shipping code be currently?
Teching.
Oh my God.
Because that is a wonderful verb that we'll be utilizing a lot today on this episode that Kyle believes does not exist.
It's not a verb. Okay, let's ignore that for a second. You know who's really, really good at fighting games, though? Wait.
That I thought you were going to point to Kim.
That
Me.
person
Oh,
right
yeah. I got the street kick.
I'm
Kim's
throw
like,
my other person into the loop, actually.
Who?
Aaron.
Oh,
He's-
he's a
oh,
Street
yeah,
Fighter
but-
guy,
He's an FGC dude.
So,
yeah.
okay, well, wait,
Oh,
what
yeah.
we were walking
We
around
gotta
in
put this
Atlanta.
together.
we play different fighting games.
What do you
I
play?
Soul Calibur. Aaron plays Street Fighter.
Right.
We're in like two different worlds.
Okay, well, it's like the multiverse. Okay, y'all are gonna be destined to meet at some point.
You guys have to like
Yeah,
meet in
we'll
Mortal
battle.
Kombat and like duke it out there.
We'll
or
battle.
something, like
Yeah.
even
Or
ground.
in Tekken.
Or in Tekken. Yeah, I guess Tekken is even ground too. So what was
Tekken
it?
Tag.
We were at
Lord of
Atlanta.
Mystery.
It's Southern Fried,
my
right?
favorite.
And Emoto and Steve were like walking around like filming all the stuff. And then
Oh, poor
Emoto
Mitch.
sat down like at something, like it was like Soul Calibur, and she was like kicking Steve's butt.
It was
playing the
Soul
game
Calibur.
one-handed, like with an
True
elk.
story.
Yeah.
Totally a true story.
It was pretty amazing.
Sorry, Midge.
No, it's pretty cool. Anywho, yeah.
So, okay, one last announcement before we introduce Kim to the world. Although it's, as we can see in the chat, most of y'all already know who this wonderful lady is. But
Hey guys.
Hey.
Twippy season is here, everybody. This week in Pinball, the Twippy Awards, Pinball Awards, Audience Choice Awards is happening now. The voting is happening now.
Yes.
So y'all want to go to Twippies.com? Twippies.com? And yeah, that's it. Wow, crazy. And vote for all of your favorites of pinball last year. And we're going to do the live ceremony at Texas Pinball Festival.
Yep.
The end of March.
I'm gonna swing whatever like teeny bit of influence, since I'm such an influencer around right now, and I'm gonna say, please vote for Todd Tuckey.
For which one?
Yes,
For what category?
Todd Tuckey for best YouTube or favorite YouTube channel.
Okay, can I also throw my tiny little
Yeah.
influence around? That was my self censor. So I'm throwing my tiny little influence around, and I am saying go vote for Laser Los for best Twitch streamer because that's my dude. He's actually going to be here in a couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because he's going to be
nice.
playing at Bang Back for the high stakes tournament.
Very cool.
So he's going to be here. I'm excited.
We should do a Marco TV After Hours live stream with him.
We
that
should.
would be really fun.
Bring him to the studio, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or he could be your first guest on
wanna set that
y'all's
up?
new trivia.
I mean, I'll set it up, but I meant like,
Yeah,
you
let's
want
find a
to.
time to do it. That might be pretty. That'd be pretty fun. That guy, we've rated him.
Please
few
do.
times.
That
I
would be
watching him
great.
play pinball.
He's funny. He'll have his little grippos, and he eats it with a fork. He's great. I love him.
Colin
Chungus
Baxter.
Army
Oh
over
my
there.
gosh, my heart. Hey, so speaking of the high stakes tournament, why don't you tell us all about what's happening over the weekend that he's coming to? Why is he coming to Columbia, South Carolina? What's going on pinball wise out there?
So at Bang Back, which is located in Saluda Avenue. I don't remember the street number because I don't remember
Bang
that.
Back Pinball
But
Lounge.
it's in Saluda Avenue in Columbia, South Carolina, owned by Fred Richardson. We are doing a 4-day series of events, starting on Thursday with the women's tournament, which is targeted match play. Friday, I'll be running a 3 strikes knockout, $10. Plus, we have like different bounties and other prizes and things like that that are going to be happening. And then we'll be doing a $50 high stakes tournament, which I think there are still actual spots available for. And I think we have, Raymond coming down. We have Steve Bowden coming. We have Carlos. So a lot of really cool people. I think we have Tom Graff, who does Fox Cities Pinball, which he does some really nice streaming as well.
A lot of heavy hitters.
So we got a lot of cool people coming,
tough
and it's going to be real
competition.
fun.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah.
I think I only understood women's tournament. Everything else kind of like went over my head. But high stakes tournament, I think I gather what that
He
means.
fizzled away.
It's just
Turn
a
them
high
up?
entry
Okay.
fee.
Yeah.
Um,
high
high-
risk, high rewards.
Yeah, high entry fee, high rewards, high payout. I believe there's going to be 2 divisions, so we're going to make sure that everybody in both divisions get paid out. And then we are also, it's basically match play with like a finals kind of thing. So I mean, it's not like a super complicated tournament. It's just
High risk, high
expensive.
reward.
It's just expensive.
I like that. That's pretty neat. If I was a competitive pinball kind of person, that's I like those high stakes.
I'm a in-betweener where I do like playing and I do like competing, but I like to do it on my terms.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I think this might be a good segue.
So let's talk about Kim and Kim's terms.
Yeah, let's talk about Kim's terms.
Kim, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us how you got into pinball and make that timeline equal into how you became working with us over here at Marco Pinball.
Yeah. It was, so I'm a nerd by proxy. Like I'm a nerd. So there was a little bar opening up and they needed bartenders, which I was. And it was a little arcade bar. At that point in time, I mostly just knew, the classic arcade cabinets, Centipede, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Space Invaders, Joust, which they all had. But then they had a bunch of pinball machines there too, which I wasn't very privy to or didn't necessarily care about too much. And that was 6.5 years ago, almost 7. So I just applied because I'm a nerd. And I was like, yeah, it's really cool, and I got it and started working there. And I believe about 1.5 years in, they were really struggling on getting a league going and they kind of needed some help. And I was doing some of their marketing stuff for them at the time. So they basically kind of said, you want to start a league for us? And I was like, a what?
Huh?
Oh, what? And they were just like, like a pinball league. You just get people, they play, we think, and then you just do that. And I was like, yeah, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I guess I'll do that. So shout out to John Geiger, who owns Arcade Super Awesome. He is the best, and I love him. He is the person that taught me how to be a tech, like little minor teching things, and then how to be mainly a TD, and how to organize things, run things. He taught me all about formats, league formats. And then it became very much a grassroots effort. Like, I started traveling to Cleveland, to Cincinnati, playing in all of their stuff, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So, I mean, for the last, 5 years, 5.5, I've been just doing a lot of tournament and leagues and pinball stuffs, which also included a bunch of charity events. I mean, I think at this point, we've raised over $5,000 in like charity stuff that we've done.
That's awesome.
For different, groups. And yeah, but it's mostly them. Like, it's mostly the people that go and they get really invested and involved and they care a lot. So I mean, like St. Bald's charity, and we had like local charities that we would give money to when we could. So yeah, I mean, it was really cool to be a part of something that
From the ground up, sort of, like.
Yeah.
Did you travel, like, outside of Ohio to do, like, tournaments, or did you mostly stick around, like, your community, like, in-state?
I'm mostly stuck around in Ohio, but then obviously I went to Pinburg.
What year did you go?
I think the first time I went was 20.
Time is so.
I know.
It's like whatever now.
I think I've went to 3 Pinburgs, and then I was gonna go to 2020s.
Okay.
And then obviously that got canceled, and then everything went to heck.
Yeah, straight to heck.
Straight to heck. Kim who? Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Me too.
That guy's just
Kim
a troll.
who?
No, it's okay.
You don't listen to that guy.
Hey, what's
We
up,
banned him
pal?
so many times, but he keeps making mistakes
So,
with
Kim,
accounts.
you're doing tournament directing. You're doing a little on-location pinball technicianing. I'm gonna keep evolving this verb. Up in Ohio, and then now you're here. So, what made you take that leap of faith into coming all the way to Columbia, South Carolina? And did you guys just freeze? That was
A little
something
bit.
dropped.
We might have frozen.
No, hold on. I think. Are you still there, Moto?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm here.
No, I think I moved the table. Are we still live on? Okay. No, something just happened with the TV. Give me one sec. I had the TV plugged in so we could read the chat. It's okay if it goes away. Hey, did this TV
So
finally
Kim-
Oh, I see what happened. Da-da-da.
Oh,
Hey, check it out. I'm using my teching abilities to figure out
You're
when
teching.
things become unplugged, and then I'm troubleshooting. Sorry.
this guy.
I like how like both of our faces went like. It's okay.
Did you guys freeze? No, that was just my utmost fear.
Yeah, of like streams like dying midway through. But don't worry, we're experts at repairing these things.
He's an expert at repairing these things.
No. You were my backup in Atlanta and Milwaukee. You, when Emoto
See,
was
Marco,
busy,
this is what I deal with
disappeared.
every Thursday.
did not disappear. Okay, there we go. So I fixed the extension cord that is much too short, but I'm making it work for what we need it to do.
Yes.
Okay, so why are you in South Carolina? Let's restate that.
Oh yeah, why am I in South Carolina?
Jen, no, Eddie, all day.
I think it was a mixture of stuff, but I think as much as I love my bar, and I really do. I love level 1. I love everything that I accomplished there and we accomplished together, kind of thing. I always kind of hoped that it would, I don't know, open new doors to be able to kind of focus more of my strength into the pinball community. And one of those doors opened, and it was honestly on a whim. Like I saw the post on Facebook from Fred, and it was like, if you're interested, and all I did, because this was how much of a whim it was, I just posted a little gif of like someone looking over the hedge, of being like, maybe I am, and then he like messaged me and was like, are you serious? And I was like, should I be serious? Yeah. should I be serious? But no, I just, I think that's kind of how it snowballed, and it was one of those things where it's like I know Fred wanted me down here because he knows, you know, TDing wise and like community wise, you know, the things that I can do or that I'm passionate about. So it's like he wanted that here, and I think, you know, other people that interviewed me also saw some of that, and I'm excited to do more of that. I don't know. So that was it.
Awesome.
Help us grow pinball, Kim. That's why we want you here with us.
No, you're not trying. You're doing. Come on.
No.
So, okay, so now you've done, you've come with us to a couple shows. I don't know. We've got like a all over the place audience on our streams.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you came to Atlanta first last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you also went with us to Milwaukee for MGC a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Are those the only two shows you went to last year?
Those are the only two that yeah.
Okay.
With us.
Yeah,
With us.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you went to Cincinnati.
What's up,
also?
Mr. Lowe?
I went to no. I went to. Now I'm gonna blank on the name.
It
So
was one of the
that's really
shows in Ohio.
Cleapin.
Cleapin. Oh,
I went to Cleapin.
Look at all these puns.
They might disown you
Yeah.
after that,
Ohio
Kim.
names.
We're super witty,
Yeah, right.
super punny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Kim helps run the women's tournament up in Cleveland as well too,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
And then we did the women's tournament at Southern Fried as well. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, which we don't have to talk about it.
No.
Yeah, because
And
There were, you know, tournaments are difficult. I think it takes a very strong-willed person to run tournaments. You know, it's kind of it's pretty difficult. You got to be able to say yes, no. You know, maybe ruin someone's day by making them bummed out about pinball. I don't know.
yeah,
what's the hardest call you've ever had to make at a tournament?
What was
Hardest
the
call.
What's
Hardest
the
call?
the hardest call?
Oh, it's really difficult because it's like, I feel like every call is going to be hard to make because you know that you're making somebody upset in the process.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just a couple of days ago in the Tuesday League, I know how, like, to me, Bram Stoker's is on the same level of Tales from the Crypt about using it in a league or tournament format because there's so many different variables and they're really hard to keep track of who's up and who's not up. Because like on Tales from the Crypt, it'll remove the player and it'll just like show the skill shot over and over again. So you like so you don't know if it's like your extra ball, you don't know if it's another person. And I've had to make a really tough decision on that of like, and it sucked because I try to run up to him and say, hey, that's not your ball. Like, that's not an extra ball. You're playing somebody else's ball. And he just kept on playing. And I'm like, I really need you to stop playing at this point to, like, let me make this decision. But you're still playing. It's not your ball. You're playing somebody else's. And he got really upset about the result of it, which was,
DQ?
yeah, like, you get DQ'd for that round. You get a 0 for that round. And I'm sorry. Like, I tried really hard to stop you from, you know, playing. And Bram Stoker's is on the same level. So I ended up having to do that twice on Tuesday.
Oof.
Of like, you played somebody else's ball, you plunged their ball, and
sucks.
now I gotta come over
Have
here
you
and be
ever
like,
made a call and the person cried?
Not so much cried. People have gotten
Have you ever
very
made
upset.
a call that made you cry later?
Yes.
What is this emote?
Yes, thank you.
Just
I feel like I'm going through
it's-
therapy, and also you're bringing up a lot of like PTSD right now.
I'm just showing people how intense it is to be a tournament director. Another
Yeah.
unsung hero of the pinball community. Yeah.
There was a call, and this was like right when I
as
first
easy
started
as it looks.
TDing, and I thought that I could run before I could walk, which was a super humbling moment as a tournament director, as an organizer, as just even an event planner. It was I had managed to secure tickets for the next Pinburg for next replay, and they gave them to me, and so I did basically like a sponsorship tournament. And this was probably about a year into me actually being like a TD. So I was really running with the ball here. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make. So I made like this huge like 80-some person tournament. You know, like you had Del Zappo and Andy Rosa come down. You had Brian Shepard and like a lot of big names from that area come down to try to win these tickets, right? And so I did not stipulate in my rules, and I thought I did a really good job of writing down all my rules. I did not stipulate, but I said match play qualifying until, I believe, it's been so long at this point, but I believe it was until like 5 p.m. Now I stipulate it where it's like if a round ends 5 minutes before 5, another round will not start in order to save time, you know, in the essence of time. Well, I did not stipulate that in my first rule set, and I got my butt chewed out so hard by like 2 or 3 people because I did not start another round when it was like 4:56. And so they were like, you need to start another round. You did this for you. You wanted to get in. And I was like, I honestly did not. I knew that we were going to end up going way over.
Yeah.
It was going to be another 45-minute round. So I just stopped it because it was like 5 or 4 minutes till the end of qualifying. And that was a very humbling experience. I was like, I'm going to go cry in my pillow tonight. So I took a lot of tequila shots.
Leave no stone unturned
No.
when it comes to like
No.
writing rules, right?
That is a nightmare.
You got to stipulate all of that. You
Yeah.
got to do all of it to
That's
cover your
rough.
butt.
That's hard, especially when like some like big angry like pinball guy is like yelling at you. Like,
And
that
it was to me it was like the big boys too. Like they were like the heavy hitters, if
yeah,
you
the
will.
real competitive
Yeah.
people. Well, they're
And
they're
they-
real good at that level because they are so competitive. It means so much, right? Like
Hello, Mango Slice. Thanks for joining us. Mango Slice is a new pinball owner.
Hi,
I
Mango
believe
Spice.
they just got a Godzilla Pro. We just saw them on Facebook.
that's an awesome game to have. I
So
am quite
welcome
jealous.
to our tech show. So let's go on to the subject of our episode, which is on location teching tips. I know I'm trying not to say teching.
No, it's funny
But that's
now.
what
It's
it
funny.
is.
It's gonna catch on like the Cletus thing or like Kyle losing the screw
Teching.
or whatever the hell the first
On
meme
location
was
teching
a year
tips.
ago.
So basically, you play pinball machines and they break. And you have to know, as a pinball technician and operator, how to fix them quickly on the fly. So Kyle and Kim both have experience doing this. Kyle as a professional operator with Black Cat Pinball, all across the U.S., in fact.
Ooh.
It is kind of
And,
funny. I don't know if I want to be
and
referred to as an
Kim,
operator,
Kim
but-
working at
Professional.
level, wait, arcade level up, level one, level
Yo.
one, level one. It
Where you
has
working,
pink.
It's level 1 arcade bar, right? No, she's laughing harder. I got it wrong.
It's okay. You guys get points for trying. It's a level 1 bar and arcade.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
So
Is that what
at
you
level
said?
one bar and arcade.
I just got 2 words backwards. It's okay. I'm sorry.
So
Not to be
let's-
confused with
let's-
level 1 in Gilbert, Arizona.
Huh.
They decided to
Yeah,
name
let's
theirs.
start with the basics, like on Kim for your side. So, tell me in the sense of like, maybe in the future I want to be a person that works at a bar arcade that can also help fix pinball machines. Like, what type of qualifications do you need for that, and like tools to keep with you? Like, what did you learn from like you not knowing anything about pinball to you working at this place?
What did they start you on, more so, right?
Yeah.
Because like usually there's a pretty normal progression between like being an eager person and someone who gets to like put their fingers and stuff. Like, what was that? Okay, that was taken a little weird.
No.
We were When you first like went in to like mess with a pinball game, like what was your
Poor
first
Kim's
task?
like-
Was it clean something, change a rubber?
Kim,
Right,
this
like-
is not a job interview.
No, I'm just over here like,
Well, I think, because I think there's a pretty normal progression for that, right? Like when I would identify people at a bar who like cared or paid enough attention to listen to what I was like doing.
Yeah.
Like, I would always be like, well, just take this rag and make it look better, right? Clean
Right.
it, right? Is that like?
So yeah, I mean, I think
Thanks
when
for
we
the
first
resub, Daddy.
started, one, I don't know if necessarily this is how it is for everyone. I don't know how, like, if this is how most operators behave, but our tech, like our operator, the person that worked on all of our games, was very particular about who touched his machines and who
Oh,
didn't.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
right? So it began very, like you said, it was a progression of things. It began very slow. It was like, you can hold the rag and you can wipe the dust off the playfield glass, you know, but do not use this rag. You have to use a microfiber glass, you know,
Yeah.
like, or whatever, because we don't want you to scratch the playfield glass. And it's like, okay. Slowly progress to, hey, if you see that a rubber is starting to thin out, because again, old school operator, if you see a rubber starting to thin out, rotate it.
Twist it to the
just
less
twist,
stressful.
yeah, just twist it so that
So-
you hide the whatever. And then it turned into, here's the novice, here's the whatever, start waxing the playfield a little bit, like making sure, but, you know, so you start picking up little things like that.
Was this so like at your location? I think it's like we have to take a step back to like
Okay.
talk about operators for a second because they're some of the worst and the best people. Your location, was it like an old school operator? Was it like
Yes.
Joe's music company and they dropped pinball machines at the bar? Or was it the owner of the bar had some games, or it was like crowdsourced games or something like that?
So
Because
it's a mixture.
okay,
So the actual owners of the bar, their collection was at level one. So they were all the games that came, like for the most part, came from them. You know, so it wasn't something that they like hodgepodge together or had like an operator drop in. That was their collection. But their silent partner was the tech.
you got it.
And,
Okay.
and so he is also very old school in his practices of like, does it turn on? Does it work?
Does it take money?
Does it take
flip?
money? Yes.
Yeah,
Does
okay,
it
it's
take
fine.
money? Does
Yeah.
it flip? Does it turn on? And so when they started doing more competitive stuff or more league stuff or more things like that, where people really were coming in and caring about how they played as opposed to just, does it turn on? Does it take my money?
Yeah.
Can I flip it? That's when, you know, he had to care a little bit more about
Sure.
like
Yeah,
certain
it takes
things.
you to another level, and that's like what I
Right.
wanted to like differentiate is like if we look back in the day, right? I mean, your locate as like an operator back in the day, 80s, 90s, like your locations were your paychecks, right? And people were really controlling and territorial about their space. Like
Right.
back in the 80s and 90s, there was no such thing as like a community-driven space where, it's like, oh, this guy's got a couple games here and this guy's got a couple games here. Like, no, there was, Bob's vending company, and Bob had a, 2-year contract with this place, and Bob was the only person allowed to put anything in that would take money. And those, that kind of stuff evolved or devolved quickly into like a bad operator, right? Because they have a big route. Pinball's hard to maintain, so they never worked. The only thing is like, do they flip? Does it start a game? Does it turn on? That's all that matters, right?
Right.
And that's where those old school operators, like you make a whole lot more money selling cigarettes or with a TouchTunes jukebox or something like that than you would with a pinball game.
Right.
So it's like, this, but going into like some locations, right, you can tell when it's like a crappy Bob's vending service machine versus like owner operator kind of thing, right? So it's really only in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years where we have locations that are kind of like a medley of people's stuff or like an owner operator thing. Because again, like Chris, the guy I used to work for, at one point this big vending company wanted to sell him, this was in like maybe 2007, 2008, they wanted to sell him his route, for $80,000. Like, it came with some equipment, but the thing it was the locations, and it was the contracts at those locations, because that was what, that was the value. It's like your customers list as a salesperson. So, like, that's why I kind of curious, because you said old school operator, but yeah, anyways.
He definitely was. Like, I mean, he definitely is. Like, that's the mentality.
Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way either, though, because I'm just trying to differentiate, like, what we have now with a place like the place where I keep my games, the place where you keep games, the place where you're doing your TD stuff, the place where I used to keep games, right? It was like 5, 6, 7, 8 people, and they put their games in. There's no contracts, there's no officiality. It's just,
here's our games.
Yeah, and generally. And that the advent with that becoming the norm, like the quality of pinball on location has like gone through the roof, because a lot of the people that put this stuff out there, they're super anal,
right?
And it's a reflection of them and their business, as opposed to, oh well, Bob's game isn't working now, whatever.
And I think that's it is apparent. It's apparent everywhere. You can tell when. So like again. John Geiger is a tech. He techs all of his own games. He repairs all of his own games. So he's an owner-operator. Arcade Super Awesome, those are all of his games, all of his arcade cabinets, and he takes care of them. But he's also there,
Yeah, all the time.
All the time, to make sure that his games are, so if something happens and
he's
someone,
there on the spot.
He is literally like, I'll be there.
And that's
I'm
the
gonna
difference
be there.
between like your old school operator who might have like 50, 60 locations,
Exactly.
and you don't have time, or you don't have the staff to consistently go and check on these things that require a ton of maintenance when they're on location. So, like, going forward with that, that's why I don't like being called an operator, because like I have negative connotations of people who are actually operators from dealing with those old people in the best possible way. But
you gotta change the term to be a positive one in your head.
In my head, yeah.
Well, because now we have services like Pinball Maps, where us, just the casual player, can see that there's something wrong with a game, and I could be like, hey, transmission has a broken target, whatever, on Simpsons. And then you're going to get that notification, and even though you have several different locations,
you can
suddenly know, oh, I got
Pinball Maps is pretty cool for that, because you can definitely see if like I have to cross town when I'm on vacation. It's like, oh, I don't know if I want to go there because every comment says this game sucks, but
right. The only thing that I will say in regards to that is that Pinball Maps is something that is utilized specifically by pinball people, and when you're dealing with something that's on location, you'll find that the actual pinball community ratio is low.
Yeah, for sure.
The people that actually know how to say, hey, this drop
Yeah.
target is misfiring, this slingshot is misfiring, it is, or whatnot, and actually can be able to tell you exactly what is wrong with the game, of like, hey, this isn't registering this hit, I think the optic is wrong. That ratio is so small and so minute that unfortunately most of the information that you're getting is incredibly vague and incredibly unhelpful. It is usually, as a bartender, so I guess like circling around, when we were first, when I was first getting into understanding the mechanics of the game and really delving into that, we would get complaints all the time, but it would be as vague and weird as it's not working.
Yeah, the flipper doesn't work.
I don't know what's happening, but it's not working. And it's like, well, that's cool. So how do I tell my tech that? So then you have to kind of go over there and try and figure out what it is. And then as you're learning how to be a better pinball person or be more well-versed in it, there have been times where I've written stuff that I'm pretty sure he looks at and he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you have no idea.
I like.
But so in that situation, someone says, the game's not working.
Yeah.
And then you're there and you're like, okay, well, let me go take a look at it. And you walk over to the pinball machine. What's like the first kind of things that you check?
Well, I mean, you have to make sure that.
First. What's the list?
Well, I don't know. It depends, right? Like. The game. What's the point of having a game on location, right? To earn money, right? So you always want to make sure. Does it take money, right? Does the token go through? Does the quarter go through? Yes. Okay. Start a game. It starts a game. What's not working, right? And the when it comes to the layperson, and honestly, when it comes to a lot of pinball people too, like there's a lot of noise to signal ratio that. I'll be honest, like when people tell me what's wrong with their game, I just kind of stop listening because it's my job to figure out what's wrong with the game and then fix it. A lot of the time, you know, I don't know, that sounds kind of rude, but it's like
I think I understand what you're saying though, because it's one of those things where I think, for me, it was always one of those things where I didn't want to muddle information up for our owner, our tech, the person that worked on it. I didn't necessarily want to write too much of like, I think it's this, this, and this, you know.
Yeah.
Instead, I just usually write out so and so said that they hit. They said this, they hit this, it didn't do this, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
I don't want to convolute it more. I don't want to offer my opinion because my opinion is very, very. You know, I don't necessarily have an opinion, I guess.
I'm here to convey the information. I think the most important thing, and it's difficult, and this is what comes with experience, is that the ability to focus in and find where the issue is quickly is, you know, that's why I charge $100 an hour, right? Because like most of the time I can figure out where the issue is quick and I don't have to bang my head against the wall. It's that little bit of experience that helps you pinpoint the problem and go and address it quickly.
Right.
Now, you know, definitely like there are some games where you're a little, I mean, there's so much going on and I'm not as experienced with them, right? With like a Jersey Jack game where they're just insane and there's so much going on and they're really difficult to service. Like those are times when I might start to listen, but when it comes to something basic, like any of these ancient games behind me or something, there's not a lot mystifying to them. I guess that's hard though. That's kind of too theory. That's too big brain. Like I think we should keep it like down to more like what are some actionable things, right?
All right.
If you do have a game on location, like what do you need to have, or what?
Yes.
You know, what
that was
should
the question.
you be looking for? I think the most important thing when you're putting a game on location is it needs to be perfect before it goes on location. You can't be putting some half-baked kind of working thing on location because it will fall apart really quick.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes in with like the owner operator versus the Bob's Vending Company kind of guy is the ability to respond to those service calls is quick, right? When my locations tell me something's not right, I mean, I'm trying to get there in like 24 hours, right? Where with like a big company, it might take a week. That being said, like having a game that is perfect, like roller games, right? We worked on roller games on this show. When roller games was done, I put it in the bar. I have had very minimal issues with it other than things wearing out that I didn't replace. As it's been there for many months now. I had an end of stroke switch fall apart. I had two fuses blow up because a diode fell off of a coil. It was like, I mean, little things like that, but I haven't had any issue with a 30-year-old pinball machine on location in months.
Right.
And that's why it's like I prefer to put all that time in on the front end before it actually goes out.
Right, because it's gonna minimize what you do afterwards.
Yes, it's much harder to work in a loud bar. It's much harder to work in a dark bar. It's much harder to work when someone is looking over your shoulder, asking what you're doing every 5 seconds. If you can do that in your shop, it's so much easier.
Right.
And that's the thing too. It's like, and that's the difference between something old and new. This game, when you put this in a bar, you will have issues with it, but they will be potentially different issues than you'd have with a 30, 40, 20-year-old pinball machine.
Yes.
Was your location, it's pretty eclectic though, right? Where you used to work, there was a little bit of everything?
Yeah, so I mean, we had a couple of EMs, a decent selection of solid states, obviously some older DMDs, and then we had our selection of Stern titles. They're probably going to find me and they're going to kill me if I talk about it. But I'm going to talk about it because the Jersey Jack that we brought in, by week one, and I think we've had this for 3 years. By week 1, the main board had failed.
What game was it?
It was Wizard of Oz.
Was it a Wizard of Oz that was new at the time you put it in, or was it a 2012 Wizard of Oz?
I'm fairly sure it was the first run of Wizard of Oz.
There's where the problem is.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with like a new laserless, I'm ready to clip.
Yeah.
With,
no, laser.
Look,
Yeah,
Carlos.
Kim, do something
it's
crazy.
really hard to build pinball. And Jersey Jack as a company has adapted, right, to make games more reliable and better. The first generation Wizard of Oz is a nightmare of a game to work on and a nightmare of a game to operate. That being said, there are fixes now, and the concurrent releases of that game are a whole lot more reliable and much better built games.
Right.
Jersey Jack is making, or their quality control has like gone a whole lot higher than it was 10 years ago. Wow, 10 years ago.
And I can absolutely agree with that. I mean, and I was fighting that battle for a very long time because they definitely were soured on Jersey Jack with the experience that they had with the first
game that they put on the floor.
With the first Wizard of Oz, and I was like, look, I don't think you understand. They had a lot of growing pains, and they had to learn a lot of stuff as well as a company, as a boutique company. You know, they had to learn a lot. But it's one of those where going back, you have your old school techs versus your new school techs, I feel like. And I think as these machines progress, as they get more modern, as they involve more, actual mini computers, it gets
things like this, right?
Yeah,
connecting it to the internet.
It gets so much more complicated, and I feel like that also throws old school techs for a loop a little bit, is what I've noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
how do you combat that?
Right, yeah, because you like on the older games, you have a lamp matrix, right? Drivers and rows, and the columns and row meet up. A light works. Where these games are all data coming in on a serial cable and different nodes lighting different things.
Right.
And Jersey Jack's insane lighting system for all the RGB lights. Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
No, you're right. And that's the thing is like it really does come down to experience. When we're talking about like successfully working on location. There is a huge experience curve. It's like knowing what to bring, what to have, where to stop and come back another time instead of biting your head against the wall. What is something that you should half rig versus fix correctly? Like, how, you know what I mean? Like, so, and I think, and I've been doing a lot more on location repair in the last couple months. I think I mentioned like in the stream, like I'd been going down and working on a huge collection of games in Savannah, and like that's tough.
Is that the horror game or like the horror museum?
Yeah,
I
it's
gotta
so cool.
go there.
Great face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You totally should.
I know,
but it's tough,
awesome.
right? Because dude's got like 18 pinball machines that are in different states of like sad disrepair, not because of his negligence, but more so just like having no competent people around like all the time to work on it, right? When you have more than 5 games on location, like you really need to have someone there on call to try to keep them working perfectly all the time, and that's not feasible. That being said, like coming up with a good toolkit, like if these are your games, I'm gonna assume like we'll be talking about your games on location, right? You just bought your sweet Godzilla, you have like 2 or 3 other Stern games and maybe a couple old Williams games, and there's a cool brewery or a pizza spot, and you put your games out. What do you need? I mean, this is going to ramble super hard, but
it's okay.
Like it wasn't before.
no, well,
We're an hour into the show, so this is the.
I guess that's why people show up here, so thank you. Light. Light is the most important tool you have. It doesn't matter if you're in a well-lit space or a pitch black place, you need a light. When I'm working on a game,
You need a floodlight.
even in, like, again, in a well-lit room, I have a clip-on light or something, because light will help you see things that you can't see without that light. Like, I'm not going to, I have to stress this 1,000 times. A clip-on light, a LED chargeable lamp or something, you need light. Headlamps are
Nice,
good.
thanks for
I saw
posting that,
Steve
Mitch.
post that link. Headlamps are really handy, but I would pair a
Clamp.
headlamp with another light. You
Yeah.
need big light, seriously.
So what we used a lot at the bar were clamp lights that we could just kind of clamp onto the side of the machine and like point it down at a specific area. And that was also super useful. So I get that the headlamp is really nice, but it's really nice to have like a steady stream of even more lights.
So
please.
I would have like a clip-on light with a really bright LED bulb, and I would use, most games have a service outlet, so on most like Williams games and old stuff, they will be in the bottom of the cabinet. So have an extension cord as well. I had just like a flat, one of those extension cords that has like 2 plugs on this side and 1 on the other side. Just something cheap and easy to wrap around with the headlamp to make it reach up here, down here, whichever angle you need. I also will double that extension cord to use as my my extension cord for my soldering iron.
Yeah.
So try to get something that would work so you can have your soldering iron and lamp powered off the same thing. I'm going to tell you, it's like it is the most
nice. That's a great
tool.
tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, he just said the second most important thing that you need to have, a soldering iron.
Yes, get a decent soldering iron. We've talked about this once. I had Ashley on the show a couple weeks ago, and I had her solder a coil a few times, and she did good. But like, I'll recommend again, like you don't need to carry a solder station around. Carry an adjustable temperature, like pen soldering iron. Don't use a gun; those are awful.
No. Yeah.
Don't use a butane-powered soldering iron. They're awful when you're working in like close quarters. I personally have not used a USB rechargeable soldering iron before, but just get a good like 30 to 60 watt plug-in soldering iron. That's all you need. The last thing you need when it comes to power, hold on, this is actually another really important one. Depending on what you're working on or if you're going to service games, get the late model Williams dongle.
Yeah.
They got
Give
rid
it a
of the
close-up.
standard. They got rid of the standard, like American plug on the power box, and they put a universal IEC power plug. So in Europe, you would have a game with a IEC power plug on one side and the country-specific dongle
We have
on
Kim
the other
in the
side.
house.
We sell these, right, Steve? We have them in stock right now. Could you link one for me? Every single Williams game that used one came with one, and 90% of them, they're not there. So if you're working on a Medieval Madness or a Theater of Magic and you want to plug your lamp in and you don't have one of these, you're screwed. So I keep one in my toolbox and my parts box just in case I forget one in someone's game. It happens all the
Nice.
time.
He's so cool.
That is
Kim wave to Draugr.
my favorite rant right there.
Hi, Draugr.
Everyone loves you.
No.
I'm glad
Because
you're
Kim's
everyone's coming to see Kim.
No.
There you go.
it's
Look
like-
at we sold one right there.
Adding to my cart now. Awesome. Don't forget to use our free domestic shipping for orders over $99 code.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
it's a super important tool. What else? I think having parts. I carry a lot of stuff in my box because when I travel, it could be like, hey, get my crappy game working again, or my perfectly working game was broken and now I need you to come fix it. And those require different pools of parts and stuff like that, right? But like I would say, like if you've done your due diligence or if you're working on a new game, did you guys have a parts room or a shop?
So,
Is this a long answer or a short answer?
no, this, okay. Long answer short. No.
Yes or no?
No. Okay.
No, I said no.
What I would say is like if you've done your due diligence and you have like newer games, or if you've like at least gotten your game into a good enough
Probably
condition
100
to
ice
be
cube.
on location, to carry wear parts, right? What is going to keep a game from earning that next quarter? Flipper parts. Right? Make sure you always have sets of flipper parts. Left and right side cranks for Williams and Stern flippers. Have a couple extra flipper bats.
Wait.
Have lots of coil stops, springs, end of stroke switches, things that
Rubbers. would
prevent the game from working.
Right.
And then rubbers, absolutely. Having a collection, and I think we have a good starting set on our website of like a big assorted rubber pack. that would be a perfectly acceptable thing for you to carry to the arcade, because like Kim was saying, right? The old school operator, when your slingshots start wearing out down here where people are doing post passes.
Hey, you just kind of you got to rotate it, man.
You just turn the word spot away. And that's fine. That's totally valid, you know, because if I didn't have a 2-inch ring for whatever reason and you put that crummy spot way up here where it's not getting hit, it's going to work, you know? In figuring out, wait, hold on. People are talking about.
I know. I'm trying to get your attention.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Have a long stream.
I'm ranting.
No, it's
well,
okay.
I forgot that I added this feature.
What's the feature?
What?
It's the Kyle feature.
Oh,
So
we gotta go hydrate Kyle.
Cashes in those points.
Okay.
Kyle needs to take a sip, so you need to take a few sips. Oh my gosh, my team viewer.
A few sips of what? Hydration?
Can you? Yeah, can you give me the team viewer code back?
Oh.
I just got kicked out.
Something weird happened on my computer.
So yeah, you need to hydrate.
We're back.
And Ice Skidoo says rotate your rubbers every 5,000 flips.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Maybe I come from a sense of privilege because I work at Marco, but like also flipper rubbers are not very expensive. And when, sorry, Moto, 1 second. I'm getting you that code. That's Kim, not Emoto. Where's sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm trying to make sure something weird happened with my computer.
I feel like it just got squished. If you make it a little bit bigger.
Is the formatting still okay, Steve?
Everything looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's something on our end. Anyways.
No, Emoto's gone.
Oh, that's what it is.
Emoto's not
I mean, I'm here.
Oh.
I'm just not here.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
she's
What
not-
happened?
Anyways,
What
sorry.
did you do to your screen? It's like
I
in
don't know.
4:3 now.
Steve said that the aspect ratio is fine, so I'm
There
not
you
sure
go.
what happened.
Oh, there we go.
Emoto's a big black box.
But she's a big black box, so we need to fix her on OBS.
Maybe
Yeah.
I like being a big black box.
Well, I'm a big black box.
I'm sorry. So hold
Oh,
on.
God,
let's,
don't look at that.
Let's slow down a minute because I'm getting caught up in my own brain. I have to hydrate.
I am the
Kim,
shadow
hydrate
bomb.
with me. Cheers.
I don't have anything to hydrate with.
Okay. Well.
You're
Sorry,
just holding
I
a
mean,
cup
cheers.
as a prop
Pretend.
the whole time.
Cheers.
You don't have anything in your cup.
No, I don't. It's like it's the fake
Just
stuff that you
something to
see on
hold?
like late night talk shows where they're sipping on a cup of coffee, but it's actually just like nothing.
You've been sipping
That's what
this
I'm
whole
doing.
time.
So, with
Sipping
rubbers,
on air.
like
Put some liquid in there.
when rubbers start to wear out, like rubbers will become impregnated with dirt and nasty, and then they become less grippy. I feel like the one thing that really makes a pinball game play a lot nicer is to just change the rubbers, the flipper rubbers. They don't cost much. You can rotate them, but I mean, shucks, just replace them, right?
Yeah.
That's his privilege talking. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. I'm
Grumpy,
joking.
Just saying,
yes.
I have a lot
Let's
of
do a
parts, and I
test.
have a lot of access to parts, so.
But I will say that as a person that had to deal with a very specific tech, that we had very specific items available, which was duct tape. What, 1 second? I'm not done. We got duct tape. We had an assortment of rubbers, but usually not flipper rubbers for some reason. And a kind of a hodgepodge of other things. We were just told, if you see it wearing, just rotate it. If you see it start cracking, like here or here, you just kind of want to like, boop, 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 boop.
Well, you do though.
And you just kind of do that.
Because like, again, that like a broken slingshot rubber will keep the game from working, right? If you don't have a slingshot rubber, it can't do what it's supposed to do.
Right.
The
Very
ball will get stuck.
inconspicuous.
If a flipper rubber broke, you know, I mean, I guess technically the game could be played, but you know, you shouldn't. And most people that are into pinball, of course, probably would not play a game without a flipper rubber. But
Right.
you know, if I was going to service, if I had a Godzilla on location, like I wouldn't come prepared with a spinner, right? I wouldn't come prepared with, you know, a lot of unique things, but having boxes or having the coming with the correct wear parts to keep a game working is really important. And everyone's punning on rubbers when we start
No,
talking
they're
about,
agreeing.
Yeah.
Never gets old.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
always
get
have
old.
rubbers. And we sell an awesome rubber assortment kit in white and black PRW rubbers too. That's just a great handy thing to just keep around.
Yeah, no, if you have more than 2 pinball machines, buy that assorted pack of rubbers, seriously. That way you don't need to buy a specific,
Kit.
rubber kit or something. You
What's
just can
up,
be like, oh,
Warlock?
I need a 2-inch rubber. I've got one. Bam, it's on the game.
Right.
So, personally, and here's another thing, right? Like, let's talk about longevity of rubbers also. White rubbers are softer, they're bouncier. I like them a whole lot better. Black rubbers are harder, and they degrade in a different way. White rubbers do not last nearly as long as black rubbers. Red flipper rubbers do not last nearly as long as black rubbers for whatever reason. The trade-off is black rubbers will make the game a ton dirtier over time. There's something about the way the rubber degrades, get caught in the ball. You
Just
need to
keep
calm down.
talking, Kyle. This is why I don't like putting the chat on your screen. Look,
We're
I'm
trying
hiding
to-
it.
No, it's Steve. It doesn't matter if it's there or not because Steve's gonna start laughing.
I
and
know,
then we're
but
gonna
then
go,
you won't be able to see why we are laughing. You have to watch the show later.
Hey,
Um,
I'm
it-
telling you, I'm not being distracted.
It makes the play field look great. Black rubbers.
Warlock, do we have a Matahari rubber kit
Yes.
that
Yeah.
we can sell to Warlock Pinball?
Yeah, of course. I don't know if it's in black.
So I think the thing with
Yes,
I think the thing with Titan,
Can you find that, Midge, and link it
is
to
that
there?
Titan's rubber kits are like
Don't forget we got a code right
user-generated.
here.
So like people will be like, on my Matahari, this is how it fit. So most of the time when we put out, all of our rubber kits generally are based on the manual, and when the manual's wrong or we screwed it up, a lot of the time, like people like Kim in customer service will try to fix it. The problem also is with a game that old, the chance of something being modified is also quite high. So just because your game looks one way and what you receive is one way doesn't necessarily mean what we sent you is wrong, and
Right.
it's up to us to figure out. Anyways.
No, and then I banking off of that, we actually just had an issue like that with the Vegas machine. It was a Gottlieb,
Vegas, yeah.
and it's because
with the double. Okay.
because they altered it. The previous owner had altered it to have 2 rubbers around the behind the drop targets, so that it would
Oh,
stop
sure,
it
it
from getting
doesn't
stuck
get-
back there.
Right.
It's a real common modification.
Yeah, but technically, from the manual, that's not something that existed. So our kit was different than what they were expecting because they had the double rubbers.
You'll
on
see
there.
that a lot too, and maybe this might be for your memory banks too, on older games with 2-inch flippers that would use a 1.5-inch ring to go through that groove. A lot of people would put a second rubber underneath the groove, and that will help keep that single rubber that normally would be there from wearing as fast. And that's not correct. It's not supposed to be that way,
But it's like a nice alteration.
but a lot of people have it that way. You might
Right.
get a call like, what's up with that? Let me address something here really quick too while we're on the topic of rubbers, but we're not going to go into this for a long time. Someone said, what is your thoughts on silicone rubbers? Silicone rubbers are fine. Silicone is not a good material for durability in a pinball machine. I like Titan rubbers. Titan rubbers are nice and bouncy. They work, but the durability of some of those Titan silicone bands, they will snap just as easy as standard rubber will. They don't have the chemical makeup of silicone is not that of something that can take those high impact beatings without degrading. Polyurethane
Thank you,
rubbers,
Mitch. I was gonna
such
ask him
as
that, but I'm
super
glad you
bands,
responded
which
to him.
is something that we sell. They are a pain in the butt to get on a lot of the times, but you will not need to put any other rubber on ever again for the most part. Maybe they're not as perfectly bouncy like natural rubber or silicone would be, but the property of polyurethane is much better suited to a pinball environment. Personally, I like natural rubber. All my games have natural rubber, except for, like, in some instances, like on my TNA, I wanted purple rubber.
Right,
so I
right.
put purple super bands on it, and that was fun. And on some games, like in certain locations, like I will put super bands on spots that are like high impact, like slingshots, but I will keep my flippers using natural rubber because I like the way that red rubbers play more than super bands or something like that sometimes. But that's all personal preference. At the end of the day, I should be running super bands on my flippers because they'll never wear out, and when they get dirty, you can wipe them off and they look good as new.
Right.
So, what's your opinion on both of those things, like from a playing standpoint? If you have one.
I don't like super bands.
How about from
that's fine.
an on location
From a
standpoint?
competitive standpoint,
From a-
just
yeah.
because they do change the way that the ball bounces
Absolutely.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I've played on super bands. It's fun.
So how about let's change the subject a little bit. If you're on location, you have games on location, is there a particular type of rubber that's best for games that are on location? What would your opinion be for that?
Well, yeah, it would be super
As far as
bands
I'm a
because-
technician, I want these to last as long as possible, but I don't want to necessarily mess up the gameplay or anything for
super
people.
bands
So
will never,
what am I putting
ever
on?
break. And
Yeah.
like most
they look
operators,
nice.
like their goal is to not have to fiddle with their games. So
Yeah.
a super band would be the ideal solution. But that being said, they're a lot more expensive than regular rubber. So if you need to outfit like a fleet of games with super bands, that might be a huge investment. So
But it's the whole entire, like you said, it's the upfront cost versus the ongoing cost. So it's like, depending on how busy that location is, you might have to either rotate the rubbers, try to maintain the rubbers.
yeah,
There's certain, so like Led Zeppelin had a weird on location issue because of the way that center ramp that's on Led Zeppelin, there's like a rubber behind there and there's like a bulb. And I forget, like it's like a weird placement of whatever, but that little rubber kept snapping, and so then that bulb would break.
Yeah.
And just because it was just, there
no,
was.
for sure. There's a lot of games like that though. Like AC/DC, behind the TNT drop targets, like Stern stretched a like 3/4 inch ring around these two posts, and they will always break a bazillion times. So the trick to doing that is to use a 2-inch flipper rubber and stick that around there, and bam, it's fine, right? And so I guess like the answer to that would be go with what you like, but
Yeah.
if you put super bands on your game, you might not need to ever go get that call like there's a stuck ball somewhere, there's a broken rubber band, where if you save some money by using natural rubber and you had to make 2 trips because people are really good at post passing and they snap slingshot rubbers, well, you might have wanted to spend that $1 whatever to buy that super band as opposed to the 80 cents or 70 cents it costs to buy a regular rubber.
Right, and it's going to last 10 times longer for that small price increase.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, like it's people like, but you also have to cater to your crowd if that's what you're into. And really competitive players,
Plus
some
one,
people.
too.
But I do agree with the comment that just came up on Twitch. I can't read the
I think
purple.
it's Jim's Arcade. Yeah, it's hard to read.
But I do agree. Super band flipper rubbers are real nice because they have a lot of traction. They give you a lot of control when the ball's coming down, so you're able to kind of drop catch, live catch a lot easier if you know how to do that. If you don't know how to do that, well then, I don't know how to do that. So I'm just like,
Ice Skidoo asked, what's the best rubber to put across the post to block my outlanes?
A hair tie.
A sock.
A hair tie. Well, yeah, but
A
then
dirty
it's like there's
sock.
also a lot of people that really hate super bands as flipper rubbers because they want natural rubber for their preference. So
Right.
you cater to your audience and also cater to how you want your game to be too. If you don't care about your audience, which is also fine. So that's the problem. It's like asking me how to clean a pinball machine. It's like there's 5,000 opinions for that one question. So you'll get a bunch of answers. What I would say is if you are curious, get some super bands and try them. Get some Titan rubbers and try them and see what you like better. Maybe you'll find in 2 months, like your slingshots on your Titans might snap because silicone doesn't have that durability, but you really like the flipper rubbers. Okay, well, that's fine. You put your one thing here, another thing here. I don't know.
And then you can test them.
You can test them. See what you like.
Yeah. So I'd like to switch things up for a hot second.
Yeah.
Grumpy EM Doctor, if you're in the chat still, speak up. He had a question about Godzilla and was wondering if the glass was off and if there was something that we could look at for him. So I thought it would be fun.
He's having problems with the ball getting stuck, so I'll call David after the show and we'll talk about it.
No, I want to do it right now because you guys have just been sitting there this whole time. Let's get some
I'm sorry.
activity,
there's
interaction.
A lot to talk about. I don't know. I don't want to try to break Godzilla on camera. I think I'd rather talk to David about that to see. David's having an issue where the ball is going up the shooter lane ramp, I think, and it's getting stuck behind Mechagodzilla. So chime in with your answer, and we'll see if we can figure something out.
Yeah, if there's something specific he wanted to see on the playfield.
Here, someone
Maybe he
asked
wants
a
to
good
sit.
question
He always
that I want
wants
to
to
say
sit.
no to. Asking about using Martin Yale rubber rejuvenator. Nah, dude, it's not worth
Just
your
buy new
time to
rubbers.
buy a product to try to clean rubbers when you can get a new rubber set for your game for like $20.
Daniel, I've always wanted to do that.
You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. That would be really cool.
Oh, yeah, comparing them on a slow-mo cam.
Yep.
I think
Moto's cracking the whip. Man, wait, hey,
Yeah.
everybody's having a good
Well-
time. We're just talking. We're having a round table.
I know. I just want to see something happen. Like maybe we can
but
look
you
at the
gave us a
playfield and
topic that
talk
was
about.
theory crafting.
Let's show us how you would twist rubbers so they.
What do you mean?
are
Okay, here's
still
something I'll
working
give you
on
a tip
location.
on for
location teching tips, right?
Well, we're talking
So we
about
talked
like
about
on
types of
location
rubbers. What else can we
things.
talk
Like,
about?
Because like
What?
working on location is a lot of response to what you find, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on what kind of games you're working on. If it's going to be a 30-year-old Dracula that's falling apart, or if it's going to be a 3-year-old, what game came out 3 years ago? Iron Maiden
Deadpool.
didn't come out 3 years ago anymore. That's how back in time I am. But
Deadpool.
yeah, sure. A 4 or 5-year-old,
Yes,
3-year-old
do some
Deadpool.
magic tricks.
You're going to have you encounter different things.
Yeah. Your little Deadpool fell off. That
Yeah.
is like the biggest thing that I've noticed. Is
heads come off
Yeah, the
sometimes.
heads fly off because of fly balls.
Like, I think, there's some principles that we always joked about and we talk about on this stream, right? Like, always be tightening. That is something that is super important. Always be touching. One of your biggest senses when it comes to working on a pinball machine is your touch, right? When you're looking around and when you're cleaning the game and you're moving your hand around and you bump the slingshot area, right? And you see it wiggle.
Nice.
You've got a loose post. Always, go in there and tighten that thing. Those are the really important things when it comes to keeping a game working better on location. A loose post, you're going to start, if it's in there with a wood screw or something, you're going to start enlarging that hole. And then, bam, you've got your problem will exacerbate when you have to take that post out, get some glue and some toothpicks, put it in there, cut it off, and put the screw back in. So tightening is really important. I mean, let's do something. Let me open this up. You can be
Yeah.
over here. Let's look at some
Open
things,
it
right?
up.
Like important things to look at, I guess, also. What I mean by
Can you
checking
turn
the-
on the
turn
ring
on the
light
light?
on the handheld camera?
Turn the.
Twist the ring light on.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh,
Oh, how exciting.
Look, it's like if you get a call on Godzilla,
Find
and we're just gonna make up an issue, right? The
Yay.
20 years from now, the building isn't going up and down, or the VUC isn't working, or something in the back, right? You go in there and you fix that, but that is not just the extent of your job. You are not doing a good job if that's all you do. When you lift up the playfield on a game, if you go in there just to address the issue and walk away, that's really half-butting it. So when we open up the game, you do want to check things, right? We're going to want to get in here.
So
We're going to want to
pretty.
wiggle things.
Yeah.
What do we have?
I'm trying to get out of your frame.
Oh. What I'm saying is
Hey, you're doing good.
if we addressed our issue, you always want to come back and you want to look through things. And it's going to depend on what game you're looking at. And obviously nothing's going to be wrong with a new game. But, are your coil stop screws tight? You're going to have your nut drivers with you or something. Go get your 5/16 nut driver. Are these tight? No, they've started to back off. Well, when they start to back off, that's when these things start to wiggle and the screw snaps. Then you've got a 30-minute job in front of you instead of maybe last time if you would have just tightened the dang coil stop screw, right? If the flippers aren't an issue, why not give them a teeny little health check while you're here, right? Go inside, make sure you don't have a ton of free play in between your crank and your plunger, and look at the overall health of the game while you're inside. A lot of this comes from like it being beat into my head by a lot of people smarter than me, but when I spent a lot of time working at the Pacific Pinball Museum with 100 pinball machines on free play,
That's what I'm doing.
Hey. Again, it's like you're not doing your due diligence if you just come and solve the problem and walk away,
everything.
because there could be an issue somewhere else that you can find and save yourself some work later. And that's why, always
Thank
be
you,
wiggling
Mango
and tightening
Slash.
and
Glad you could
looking
make
at
it.
things. Look at springs. Are the springs still attached? There's so many things to look at, and that's why this is a really difficult topic without like actually being on location and looking at a. Oh,
What
you're at the
happened?
drop ceiling.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. You know what? That's it. Give the game a physical. That's what
Yeah.
we're talking about. I think that's absolutely what you need to do when you open a game up. Like,
yeah, check solder joints.
and Jaded brings
brand
up
new game
something.
could have problems.
Jaded brings up a good point. I mean, just because it is a new game doesn't mean there can't be a problem. Yes, you are correct. There are plenty of games that might not.
Risk him.
Little issues that may not get caught going through Stern or Jersey Jack's quality control when they're leaving. But
Sorry.
just as
Just
a
set it down. Set it down.
Okay,
and
I'm
so you
trying.
don't have to keep
I
on.
want to.
I know you're doing great.
just as like a basis, right? Like I am pretty sure that there's going to
Give me
be
a
no
shot.
problems in this game, so I'm using a blanket statement. But
Oh,
Mamoto,
oh, give
where
me
do
a
you want
shot
it
at
set down?
least. Put it inside. Give me something cool.
yeah, get that upshot of the playfield.
Yeah.
Like
That's
one
what I'm
thing.
talking about. Look at that, Mac.
A lot of people are very, very familiar
Solid.
with are, Stern has has issues sometimes with coil stops, right? The flipper coil stops are sometimes they will disintegrate prematurely. Let's put it that way. And when you are opening up a new Stern game on location, maybe it's a good idea to make sure that you don't have a pile of gold dust on the bottom of the cabinet, or the actual core isn't getting loose. So it is a good idea to spend some time with the machine while it's open once you've addressed the issue. And a lot of times you can save yourself work in the future by catching a small issue before it exacerbates itself.
Oh yeah, Pinball Magician says you can hear a bad coil stop. Can you describe what a bad coil stop would sound like?
Yeah, it'll just sound more hollow. Like when the stop is not in position, you've
I
got a
want
good
him
like
to do an onomatopoeia.
thwack. When you've got a bad coil stop, sometimes they won't sound as like forceful. They'll kind of be like, tuh, tuh. I don't know.
Right. Like a little bit more dull.
That was good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
So a
it's
good
like,
one sounds like what?
tuh. All right. Oh, good one?
No.
Thwack.
And then a bad one sounds like what?
Well, what's the bad one sound like?
Tuh.
Okay.
They sound bad.
There you go.
So I don't know. I'm just there's just so many variables. It's like it's overwhelming to try to even explain it all in one go. It's it takes time, but coming prepared and having the right tools is important. We don't need to talk about tools. If you're operating games, I'm just going to assume that you might have tools. Right? Like if you're operating games, you might have a couple little parts in your house, but you maybe don't have enough things to really take care of multiple games. And also,
Right, and we just created to the tech tool belt or basic pinball starter kit tool belt
yeah,
that has a little tool belt attached.
a good assortment
And
of
with
like
some of the
beginner's
basic
tools,
tools you would need and want just if you're just starting out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we put some time into that together. There's some good stuff in there, and priced reasonably to have a big old belt of tools like that. So,
Thanks, Mitch.
But definitely there are different, I guess like the thing I could stress is like if you're comfortable working on your games in your house, which are, maybe your prized possessions, and you cover them and you don't let any bad things happen to them, you're going to be in for a huge surprise going to work on games that are, in the wild. It's very different, and you'll have to start looking for very different things. But it's fun. It's very rewarding,
Have you ever, just a random question, have you ever helped tech a game that was not specifically yours?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay. Have you come across like games that have been in as nice of terms as possible? Yes. MacGyvered.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
MacGyvered. So how do you deal with that? Like you come and you see there's a situation, there's an issue, and all of a sudden when you open up the playfield and you pull it open,
and it's a rat's nest.
And it's like they MacGyvered 5 different things.
I guess, like, I'll be honest, it depends on if they're paying me.
Well,
if I'm being paid to work on your MacGyvered game, then I am going to go through and fix the issue, and then to a reasonable standard, try to get rid of things that will keep it from functioning in the long term.
Okay.
And that's the most frustrating thing when it comes to working on other people's games on location, or that dumb joke you see in like a mechanic shop above like the billing desk, right? Where it's like, if you watch, it costs $50 an hour. If you worked on it first, it costs $150 an hour, or something like that. That's kind of like truthful when it comes to working on people's stuff. Like as a professional, I don't want to have to go in and solve issues that someone else may have created.
Yeah.
Even though their intentions were good. Anyways, it's that's real common.
Somebody asked, what locations do y'all work on? I do not work on any. But
I have some games at a bar here in Columbia called Art Bar, and then I have a bunch of games at a place called Transmission Arcade. Sometimes when I am prompted, I go work on games at Bang Back, and they have a bunch of games there. And that's the difficult thing, is when you have a bunch of games that need work in any location, sometimes you do have to play triage.
Right.
I think Steve and I kind of talked about this once, like months ago, like right when I came back from Savannah, like how hard it is to choose what to fix, right? Because
how do you prioritize?
That's hard because I need, the most important thing is for the game to earn money.
Right.
And to me, I need to make sure that if someone's paying me money for an experience, I need it to feel like it's worth it to them, right? So if I have a game where like, just the flippers work, I mean, that sucks, right? Like no one's gonna walk away from a game where like nothing else works, but you can kind of hit the ball around.
Right.
So it depends on the location, right? So let's use the Graveface Museum, which I am helping bring back to life.
I'm really excited to go there.
I am excited for you to go.
Yeah.
I really want to go there.
The games all worked, but what is working to you, right? The flippers flipped, the game started, but a lot of them were not like actually great to play. Lots of scoring features didn't work. Like major features of the game wouldn't work, and that's frustrating to a player. But it depends on what the end goal is, right? If I'm one man and I have to go fix 20 games, my goal is to make sure that all of them will continue working reliably, and then my next visit or whatnot will be hopefully to continue increasing the quality of the games and getting other features working and making things more reliable.
So I guess to quantify it though, so I'm seeing a couple of comments come in, and then they're kind of simplifying it, which I guess that's why we're here, to help simplify it in a certain way. But as someone said, coin mech first, flipper second.
Well, when you're paying for it, absolutely, right? Make sure, because like, what's the most common complaint at a bar?
Is I can't, I put my money in here and it's not taking it.
So it's like that is a really important thing, is learning how to make sure that the game can take money. That is the first step. Now, if you stop there, you are bad. You are Bob's Music Company. You are
just
bad.
not a
You have no
nice
right to
person.
operate pinball machines. But it's where you continue going from there. It's hard too, because like even in like the non-commercial space, like in the hobbyist space or the home collector space, right? Like our service calls used to be, I have a pinball machine, will you please come fix it?
Yeah.
To like only a few years after that, I have 8 pinball machines, I need you to come fix all of them. And that's different because I'm only, you know, there's only one person, maybe sometimes 2, and we only have so many hours in a day. So, you know, again, it comes down to what you can reliably fix in the correct amount of time.
Right.
You know? I can't sit there all day. I got really frustrated. Someone really botched the motor on Freddy. Have you played Freddy? It's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy, yeah.
Someone botched the motor for the furnace, right? So in Nightmare on Elm Street, there's a furnace, there's a plastic thing that rides up and down on a carrier on a motor.
Okay.
And someone really, really screwed it up. And it became loose, and there's 2 limit switches, right? So when the motor spins 180 degrees, it says I'm up, and then it spins 180 degrees, it says I'm down.
Right.
And it was just all sorts of screwed up. And I was really frustrated because of my neuroses. I had to fix it. There's no way I couldn't stop it. But was that critical? Absolutely not. Can you play the game without that motor going up and down? Yes. Will most people not even notice that that motor and stuff is not working on a free play location like that? No, they will not notice. But I spent like 1.5 hours of very valuable time that day trying to get that thing going when I should have moved on to the next game.
Were you being paid the same amount, or did you get paid more?
No, I was getting just hourly. But the thing is like, you know, I could have used my time better by increasing the quality of another game next to it as opposed to getting stuck on this one thing that was really frustrating me. And, you know, you learn those things as you continue doing service calls, etc.
Right. I just want to make a note that I was put on timeout from reading the chat. The chat has been removed from my view.
From your view. Let's put this down so we can look at each other and we don't have to like peep around.
I really like peeping around.
Okay. Well, people were telling me that they thought the Godzilla light
you
show
were
was
just
gorgeous,
like,
so.
Yeah, the Godzilla light show is gorgeous.
Slowly and staring at the chat.
I know. I'm just like.
It's okay. Nobody.
I was trying to intently read
so
with
everyone,
my bad
we're
eyes.
in our last 30 minutes of the show. It's been a while since we've done a PinTech Live. Since we're kind of in chat mode, if anyone has any general questions for Kyle and Kim, pinball repair questions, maybe you're working on a game right now and you're stuck and you're looking for some opinion and help from these 2 lovely people and all the amazing people in our chat, feel free to drop it in the chat box and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get,
of course, we'll start off the Q&A section.
Let me give final
segment
notes. Let me give my final notes.
Okay.
Come prepared. Bring some things you might not even think you might need. Have patience. Bring a light. And don't get caught up on one thing. I think those are some of the most important things. Don't be afraid to throw in the towel. Don't make things worse. If you get to a point where you can't fix a problem because you don't know or you're unsure, don't be afraid to just throw in the towel, phone for help, and come back another day with a clear mind. Don't make the problem worse. I've made that happen before. So.
And my only closing notes.
Don't rush.
Yeah. And my only closing notes for people that technically aren't techs, but may work at a location, on location, and are, you know, trying to be helpful for their techs. You know, sometimes less is more. You're really trying to outline an issue for them. And sometimes you're muddling that, and you're making it harder for them in the long run because they're going to be looking at what you're describing.
It might throw someone for a loop.
It might throw them completely a different direction than what the actual issue is because you're not the tech. You don't know what's happening. Honestly, if you just left it at, it's doing this, and then that is it.
Yeah.
They're going to have enough wherewithal, and they're going to have enough experience and wisdom to be able to be like, oh, if it's doing this, it's going to be either A, B, or C. I'm going to check A, B, or C, and that's what's going to happen. But when you try to diagnose it for them, it usually ends up throwing them on a different loop, and they're like, well, that checked out, so I have no idea what you're talking about. And so it makes it harder for them to do their job. So.
And I will also say, if you have any interest in fixing games and you like the tech, or the person who maybe comes to your bar or place of business to learn, or to come repair your games, ask questions, volunteer. I like to teach anyone with a pulse anything about pinball that they ask me. And I am very much looking for the 24-year-old version of me to come up to me so I can brain dump on them, so when I die, they can be me in the future to continue doing this. Volunteer and see. If you want to learn something, ask questions and do. So, yeah. Anyway.
Maybe you should just start having
like
kids, Kyle, so your legacy can be
Just saying.
really
I feel like I'm
permanent.
older than you.
Everyone's older than Kyle, actually. He just feels old.
I'm 24.
Yeah, free shipping means
Yeah.
it's parts day. Maximum power.
I've been 24
So-
for like 10 years.
Yeah, he's 24. A few questions we got in the chat was, Kyle, when are you going to come up and fix Warlock Pinball / Gordon and party with him?
When is the next Pinfest
Oh,
Allentown?
he says, I'm guessing Emoto wouldn't come even though she'd be invited. I would come just for Andy.
Why didn't you come that night? What were you guys were doing something or
Working, Kyle.
working?
Woo! Spicy.
You were at the hotel.
Working.
So?
Yeah, fine. Someday, I'd love to come back. You and,
Just because
Marissa
we're
are
not at the
wonderful
booth
people.
doesn't mean that we're not working. But yeah, that would be great. Grumpy EM Doctor stated that there's going to be another Fun with Pinball workshop coming up. So I'm going to post that link in the chat so y'all can find it. If anyone is new to this, Fun with Pinball does an awesome EM repair clinic. So if you have an old EM game that something's wrong with it, you can actually sign up to have these techs go online and help you fix it in real time. Or if you just want to learn more about working on electromechanical games or learning how to read schematics especially, then
Yeah.
you should definitely just sign up. It's a great, great program. Kim, have you ever done a Fun with Pinball seminar
I have not.
yet?
No.
We'll have to get you sign up for one. It's very, very informative stuff and great coaches. You learn a lot
Okay.
really quickly on that. And
That is a
oh, so
great
I got another
seminar.
question in the chat. Why did you reopen it? Look,
Because I wanted to
you're
reach
messing
you
it
because
up.
they were flying by.
It's okay. You guys should be concentrating on your
She didn't-
conversation
Sometimes Emoto
together.
misses the questions that I want to answer, so I'm being selfish. I'm sorry.
She just doesn't read them.
No, that's what I'm saying. She misses them.
Purposely
Oh, I
misses.
read them.
Well, you didn't
I
read the
purposely-
best question.
Well, I wasn't done. What was the best question?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, see, you don't even know what you're talking
What was
about.
Marco's
Okay.
question?
Marco's question was the best
That's
question.
what I was gonna read out to you, but it was supposed to be not. You weren't supposed to see it. Talent's gone crazy. All right, so why is it so hard to work on your games through the coin door? I can barely fit my head in there. I don't know how you guys do it.
It's tough, man.
Yeah. See,
The
it's
more
not as
beer
fun
I
anymore.
drink, the harder
Here
it
it
is
is.
for me to fit in there. And I was kind of born with bad genetics to work on pinball machines in that regard. But thankfully, I do have long arms, which are rather slender, so it does allow me to get inside and reach the back. No, actually, and a funny note, Atari Hercules actually has a trap door underneath the game to service it from the underside. So you
Kim's
do
dying
actually
over there.
literally have to climb in the game to work on it. So
That was a good question.
I've been there.
Yeah, but you know what? That's a valid question because if you didn't know anything about pinball machines, you don't know that the playfield lifts up.
No, most of my customers have no
And-
idea you can even take the glass off.
No, it is a pretty exciting time when the first time that you actually pull it open and you lift it up. Most people are like, "Oh,
It's an amazing thing, yeah. When I first dropped my pinball machine off at my parents' house, they were having some type of stuck ball issue in the mid of the playfield, and their solution was to open up the coin door, get a coat hanger, put it up through the ball chute, and then wiggle some little piece back into place
I love
by
that.
going like that. And I
That's
was just like,
amazing.
what are
That's
you guys
amazing.
doing? Take the glass off and open it up. So it's not, it happens
Yeah.
to the best of us. So yeah, that's a nice little tip. That should be the first tip. You can remove the lock bar and pull off the glass.
No,
and
every
lift up
time
the
I
plate.
deliver a game to someone, I would show them how to take it apart.
Nice.
Because, man, it sure did suck to have that person call like the next day, like, oh, I need you to come out. Like, why? Well, there's a ball stuck. No. I'm not coming out first. Let me show you what to do here. And yeah, it's that's something everyone should know how to do.
Right.
Yeah, and Drago says that when he starts losing in a tournament, he just sticks his head in the coin door to hide.
Okay, Matt.
I tell
That's
you what,
dumb.
I just
I hate being a
climb
tournament
into the pinball
tech.
machine and hide.
That's like the most stressful
Yeah,
thing.
don't drop the
What?
playfield when you
Being
lift
a
it.
tournament tech person, like when all these like hyper testosterone, for lack of a better term, like amped up pinball players are like staring over my shoulder, making sure I didn't accidentally hit a rebound switch while unsticking a ball, so that person
Right.
has a 10-point advantage. Like, bro, chill out. Hold on.
I
I hate that.
So
I guess we didn't really touch on it, but yeah, teching during a tournament, teching during a tournament is obviously very different than just maintenance tech work.
It's can be stressful.
It is also its own amount of stressful because you have to rush to figure out the problem if it's like a switch misfiring or if it's not registering or it's not doing something that it should do. But a lot of the times the TDs will, make a call, finish the game or remove the game or switch them out of game and have the tech come in afterwards to take a look at it. So it's like, but there is, the momentary fear of a ball just got stuck. Now I have to go with like my little magnet to be like,
yeah,
I gotta get it
The
out.
whole don't breathe while
we
you're
had
taking
this
the glass
insane
off.
one happen at the last Indisc, Kim. It was like in finals, and it was like Kaylee George versus Eric Stone on Diner, and some little I think those are the guys playing. Some little plastic got stuck in the scoop or something like that, and it was during gameplay. So it was like holding the ball up with a flipper while like Jim Belcito, whoever was pulling the glass off and like slowly trying to get it out and not hit a switch to add points to it.
Yep.
It was like the most nerve-wracking thing I've
Yeah, it
ever
sucks.
watched.
When they have the tilts
It's
like
crazy.
adjusted so damn tight on those games too.
So you don't also want to
Yeah.
accidentally touch the
Oh,
game because
right,
it's gonna then it's gonna
exactly.
danger,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna be in trouble with the player.
I hate they're doing that.
A big shout out to all of the volunteers and all of the volunteer
Yeah.
techs from Replay and Pinburg, dude. They
Absolutely.
were stressed for like a solid 4 days. They
All right,
did
so
so
Kyle,
much work.
tech question for you.
Okay.
See, Colin, I didn't forget you. All right, so I have done the cap kit on Lethal Weapon 3. Do you know who this is?
Yeah.
We're getting the same results with the soundboard not working, and the VR2 on the soundboard is still super hot.
Replace VR2.
With the power supply rebuild, what could be the next step?
Replace VR2, but I don't remember what's going on with your soundboard. If you've got voltages at the soundboard, like then and it works in Last Action Hero, like if the correct voltages are at the soundboard in your Lethal Weapon, right? And if you've put that soundboard in another game and it works fine, then you've got a problem with how the soundboard is interfacing with the computer. So look at your cables, etc. I think your VR2 is like dead. And it maybe I forget what that voltage regulator is for. Is it for the negative 5 volts or something? Just replace it and see what happens. It could be it could be so far dead that it's just like in a cycle of melting itself. So VR2 was replaced with a new one. Oh, okay. I can read that from here. Wow.
The VR2.
Let's talk about it on Discord. I should have some time later tonight to jump in that with you and look at the actual schematic.
Tekken.
Tekken.
All right. So another question, Doctor Who. The elevator has begun to not elevate. Oh no. How often do I
common.
need to change the bushings or bearings to keep it going?
Just sell it. Just get rid of it now.
Hey.
Sell it to Kyle and we'll put it on the show.
Nah, oh God, I hate that game.
It's so good.
The
I know,
elevator's not
God.
elevating. So yeah, I mean, the basic things like, is it not elevating and the motor isn't running? Well, there's your issue. Is it trying to elevate but it can't? Well, figure out if it was greased improperly and it's dirty and you need to clean it up again. Check the condition of those bushings. Make sure that the motor hasn't started stripping out, right? You know, if that thing ever jammed up and the motor was trying to run and the motor kept trying to run and it, you know, could have
Oh,
cooked
nice.
itself.
And Midge just posted a Doctor Who roller change kit.
Yeah, that's a good kit. If it really has gotten that far gone, replacing it with those roller bushings is the way to go. Or just get rid of it.
Now.
Now, I used to love it, like warning. What does it say when you have the glass off? Warning. Watch. God, I used to be able to recite it.
Oh, is it the hands and the
Yes,
high voltage
so it
and the
doesn't,
thing?
Like, chop your
Oh,
fingers
the
off in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
elevator.
yeah. I
That's
remember
so funny.
that.
We used to have I used to keep a piece of cardboard inside the Doctor Who I worked on just to like shove into that switch so I could work on it with the glass off.
Aw.
But-
I like that
Awesome.
game.
No, I like
I like
Doctor Who too.
the what is it? The supersonic boom, or like where you get into the upper
Yeah,
and you just like
choose like the 5th Doctor, and it like makes that worth like a ton. So you can
Yeah.
just sit there and like shoot the same shot that's super easy over and 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 over again.
right.
It's great. I love it.
I like that game.
It's a good game. It is. It's cool.
Changed his mind.
They're all cool, honestly. There's no bad pinball. That's
Awesome.
not true.
Motor
Whatever you-
Dome.
No, it's a great game. If it was the only game, if Motor Dome was the only game in a bar and you were drinking, you were telling me that you would not play Motor Dome because
I would probably play it
Exactly,
once,
so
and
it's
then
good pinball.
I'd play it once, and then I'd be like, "Oh, this was a mistake," and then I would go and I'd find something else to
ban
go
this
do.
person.
Should just go play on
you're-
her phone.
Not all pinball
I'm
is
just
created
joking.
equal.
Even motor domes deserve to be saved.
That is true. Motor domes do. Don't worry, we had a motor dome. I think it was more so that I was really mad.
No, I think
that
it
I did.
sucks. But it's still pinball, so it rules.
So it
It's-
rules,
It's
yeah.
in a line of things. Pinball, if it's pinball, it's automatically better than any other game. So Motor Dome is still inherently better than most other games.
Better than Tekken?
Better than
Better,
Tekken.
yes, better
Not
than
better
Tekken.
than Tetris. Tetris might be one game that
We're not
sneaks
talking about
Better
into
Tetris,
than
we're
pinball.
talking about Tekken.
civilization.
No, I'm just talking about games. Anyway, this is getting. Oh,
We're getting off topic. Sorry.
It's fun.
What
though.
about better than Mist?
Myst?
Myst?
Ooh, nothing's better than Myst. Has anyone actually ever finished Myst? Steve has.
Yeah, I have.
Oh.
With a walkthrough book,
Yeah.
Yeah.
of course.
You gotta
You got to use the walkthrough book.
I'm gonna go
Kim,
watch
do you
a
have any
Myst Let's
pinball
Play.
machines in your collection? Do you have a pinball collection? Do you own any pinball machines?
Me?
You
Oh,
own? Pinball
no.
machine?
I'm currently trying to save up money to get one, but unfortunately, I'm an on-location person, and I play on location, which is why I have a lot of
that's awesome.
tidbits and knowledge about, you know,
Which is fine.
the wear and tear of on-location games and the uniqueness of what, you know, what goes into them, what doesn't go into them. And it's one of those things where it's like I said, most people are going to complain about very, very small things in the long, you know, like in the long run of it, where it's like the game's leaning to the left, you know, oh, it's not leveled here. And it's like,
Everyone's idea of level's different, but
right.
you know, that's the kind of the fun. Going back on your answer though, that is kind of the fun thing about pinball is
Yeah.
if you are not rich and you can't afford to buy an $8,000 toy, you can still go down to your local spot and spend, you know, $5-10 and enjoy the said toy.
Yes.
Without needing to invest $8,000+ dollars.
Right.
You know, so.
Nice. I have another tech question, but I wanted to ask y'all's opinion on something I've noticed that's regional on location pinball play is some people on location always put the casters, the rubber casters, the little pinball feet on the bottom of the games. But on the other side of the country, they don't put them on any of the games. Do y'all have a particular preference as a player and then as an operator on which you would prefer and why?
I'm gonna let you answer it. I'll answer it afterwards.
So as an operator, Kyle, not as a player,
Right.
does it matter? Does
No,
it affect
doesn't matter.
the game?
It depends on what the location owner wants, because if you don't want the game sliding around and scratching some really expensive floor or something, then you need to protect the floor. As an operator, that really plays nothing into like my preference for operating a game. Like, again, it's just like if I don't want the game, if there's like a low friction coefficient,
Mitch,
right?
thank
Like
you.
if a game's like on something that is easy to slide, then yeah, I want to keep it there so someone doesn't slide the game across the room inadvertently, right? But at home,
Right.
I actually put the back legs of my games on the rubber footies, and I just put like felties on the front. So then you can still
That's
move the
messed
front
up.
of the game a teeny bit and have like action, you know.
Right.
But,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I answered too.
Oh yeah, because you got those nice old wooden floors.
Yeah, you don't want to mess them up.
No, yeah.
Those floors.
What
But I
about
also wanna still be
you,
able to
Kim?
move it.
As a tournament player, and you walk into a location, do you get excited to see the rubber casters, or do you get excited when you don't see them?
Okay, so there's two different facets to this. If I'm just there to play, and I see that the flooring is either concrete or some form of smooth surface that isn't carpet, and I have these games that are sitting here, and I realize that the tilt is not as tight as it should be, I am very excited because my money is about to go very long, and I will not have to spend too much money on playing these games because I'm about to slide the heck out of these machines. I will move to the right, I will move to the left. I think there's actually a really good clip from level 1 where I was in a tournament, and to preface this, level 1 does not put rubber casters on their, like they don't do that. So everybody knows that you can slide our machines. Like, and you can see the long line of like the epoxy flooring coming up, and it's just like bare concrete
That's funny.
right in the front legs, like where the front legs are, because of how much people like slide the machines.
Yes, all at the same time.
And there was like a really good moment on Deadpool when I was in a tournament that I literally, like, the poor streaming camera setup got messed up because I just moved it so far to the right, and then I slid it back to the left, and I saved my ball, and I was like, yeah, this is so cool. I'm so
The
happy.
camera's just on the floor.
Yeah, and like everything's like
smoking.
skewed, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, sorry guys, had to really do that. But for a tournament's sake, for like a big tournament's sake, yeah, I mean, you want to have your rubber castings on there because you're not going to have that happen.
Does it kind of change the way you play though, since
Yes.
the game doesn't like move at all?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it changes so much.
It
how
changes,
the
it
game
changes your
plays.
entire strategy because there are certain
Yeah.
games that I know that I could possibly get away with, like doing a
That
back,
move and getting a double danger, and you're good.
and I'm good, and I've saved the ball. It's on my flipper and whatever. You throw rubber casters on there, that entire move goes away. Everything that you had planned to do goes away. So then you have to play a little bit more controlled. You have to kind of.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So do you think most tournament directors put rubber casters on their games for their tournaments?
I think most big tournament directors, the ones that really care, do put rubber casters on there. One, it's going to make the game play a lot harder. So usually
Right.
there's like 3 or 4 different facets that they do. They either hike up the game, they put rubber casters on, they open up the out lanes. So they
Right.
they move the post all the way to like the furthest that they get. They remove the rubbers from the out lanes, so you're not going to get that rubber bounce. And then they tighten the tilt. So right there you have a Papa style machine that is mean. Oh, and then they remove the ball save. So it is mean, lean, it's fast, it gives you no anything. It doesn't,
quarter.
yeah, like so it was really fun to watch people try to play Pinburg on their Iron Maiden, or not Iron Maiden, Iron Man. Because that machine is already notoriously
Drain happy.
drain happy. So then they opened up the posts. They opened up this. They removed the ball save. They did the thing. They put it on rubbers, and you're looking at like a 2 million game high, if you could get it. And it was like everybody just left that game looking really defeated. And I was like, that sucks to suck. Like, whoo, I'm really glad I didn't play on that game. It was very scary.
Man.
But
I guess I never really thought about it until you guys started like getting deep into it. I was like, oh yeah, they kind of do play different when they're on footsies.
yeah.
So Jaded asked if the location owner doesn't care if there's feet on the pinball machines or not, the casters, would you put them on?
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't. Just because, again, they play a little bit easier. There's a little bit more give and take to the machine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
I like to set games up the way that I like to play them. So I like my games to be loose and you can wiggle them and
Marty.
shake them, and I don't want to. That's because like I perceive that as the most amount of fun. So
Right.
if I set it up and I enjoy playing it, then I just assume everyone else will like playing it. I don't know.
yeah.
Sometimes
agree.
I'll use footsies to like if the floor is uneven.
Right.
I'll put a footsie under like
okay.
a corner to like level it and make it a little better, so you don't have to do anything wacky with the leg levelers, But
Yeah.
yeah, most of the time I just use them at my house. But like on my hardwood floors at my house, like I'll just put I put the felt sliders on it. One time in here we had carpet sliders. We were playing Viking. Do you remember? Were you here, Steve, with Kale? Kale and Rachel and we had Viking on carpet sliders, and we taped a square in the carpet. And the only rule was that the plumb bob was still in there, but you couldn't make the game slide out of the carpet square. So there was just this like, woo, and that was fun. I want every game to be like that. Anyways.
Okay, so tech question for you, Kyle, that we got in from Dupe TV earlier before I derailed it to ask my question about
Good question,
casters.
though. Great.
I was just curious, yeah, because it's like opinion. Anyway, Adam's family switched to LED, but
Okay.
the cloud topper will pop the CPU occasionally. Is that a 5-volt car board, CHAR board fix, or something else?
The cloud topper there's no interaction with the topper that should reset the computer. There's flash lamps in the cloud, and only when those flashers go does it reset. Is that what you're saying?
Grumpy, true that. The operator just wants the return.
Adam switched to LED, but the cloud topper will pop the CPU. Well, I mean, here, simple, right? If the problem didn't exist before LEDs and it exists now, yank all those LEDs out, does the problem persist, right? If it still persists, well, I don't know, because I don't see any correlation between either of those things.
They said, yup, resets when flashing.
Okay, now what if you yank the LEDs out, put the incandescent flashers back in, and what does it do? I think the issue you're examining here, in your brain, you're linking it to putting LEDs in the game, but I don't think that that is the causation of your problem. I think you maybe have two separate issues, and it just kind of happened to pop up now.
How many mods does he have?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like how many mods do you have plugged into your 12 volts on the Adams family? Like if you've got a completely virgin Adams family without like every crazy lit thing you could possibly shove into the game, and it's resetting, yeah, then you're going to want to look at the driver board. But if you've got a ton of mods, unplug all of them and then see what happens, and you might solve your problem right there. So, but yeah, I think maybe you're noticing something that is just rearing its head now, as opposed to.
Said no real mods.
No. I mean, change the LEDs. Remove the LEDs from the topper, right? If you're noticing that the game is resetting when the topper LEDs are going off, just see if that could be the issue. But yeah, I mean, if you have a WPC game, it might be worth it to get one of those car boards just to have on hand, so you can continue enjoying the game until you can fix the issue. But I have a feeling that maybe you're just noticing something that just kind of correlated to when you put those LEDs in. It just is. It's time to rebuild that board. Yeah.
All right. They said they're gonna try it. Report back. Hopefully, it helps with your issue.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, that's the thing is like most of the time when you're trying to
Hello,
solve an
Mr.
issue,
Teolis.
and like a new issue arrived after I did X. I mean, generally, you know, in my train of thought, or what I would recommend people to do is to undo X or try to change what is causing the issue back to where it used to be and see if the issue still persists.
Right.
Right. You know. But yeah.
I feel like people have a lot of tendencies to correlate their changes to the issue that they have.
Yeah, it's an old game, right? These
Right.
things are old, and new issues can just arise because it's having a bad day.
Right.
So.
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
And
Thanks, Steve.
Midge just posted a link in the chat for the reset board. The nice WPC reset board. Remember we used to do product spotlights, Kyle? We need to bring that back.
Woo!
Kyle just made some new pieces. Some pinball pieces.
I gotta go.
We'll get more on track when we start working on games again. Next week we're doing this, which I'm excited to talk to Harrison on, and then I'm excited to start working on games again. We have,
Look, at least we had a good time. The viewers had a good time. They,
Yeah.
They got to ask questions.
I learned a bunch about tournaments
Yeah.
and stuff, and leg
All right.
rubbers actually doing something.
Last tech question.
Okay.
Sonic Butterfly. Ooh.
Great game. I have a head for a Sonic Butterfly at work.
played that only
Start
once.
button always starts a multiplayer game.
So here's one of those things where it's like,
And then
here's one of those things where I'm going to ignore the issue that you're presenting and pose you with the question, player unit rebuild. If you haven't done and serviced all the steppers in the game, it's not even worth me trying to...
What parts does he need to do that? That's what he's asking.
Yeah, well, what I would recommend with starting is go and service all your stepper units and make sure that they all step up cleanly and reset cleanly. A lot of the times with electromechanical games, when you get those goofy problems that seem to defy all logic, they can be solved by going in and helping and messing with the steppers, or not messing, but repairing and bringing the steppers back to their original snappiness.
Maintaining them.
I'm not familiar with the Sonic, but are they?
It's Williams stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sonic and Sagasa were basically Williams copies. So, and a lot of the times
And the other
too,
question-
like those, go ahead.
I was going to say the other question was bonus points always count 10,000 less than it should.
That would have you serviced the bonus unit? Is it actually stepping down cleanly every time that coil fires?
Oh, what did you do that on? We did that episode on something recently.
Any EM.
Or
We were working with
no, maybe it was not. You fixed it on Jungle Princess or Grand Prix. You had this issue on Grand Prix, right, where it was
Oh yeah, when you were at my house.
it kept
Yeah.
it wasn't doing, it was shorting 10,000 and you had to clean your stepper
Jack in the
unit.
Box. But we were working on a
But we
score reel,
we did
not a
do
bonus.
Jack in the
But
Box.
so here, Kung Shu.
Let's see.
A lot of the times when you're working on
Kung Shu.
EM games, and especially on steppers, you really don't need to replace parts. A lot of the time what you're going to be doing is disassembling the unit, cleaning the unit, and then reassembling the unit. The beauty with electromechanical games is like really they don't eat parts up like more modern games do. So I've done a few videos here on servicing steppers. There are
Yeah, I'm trying to find
bazillion
it.
videos on servicing steppers. Mark's Basement Arcade would be a good source. The Grumpy EM Doctor has also done some good stepper rebuild things. Your Uncommon Sonic game basically uses Williams hardware, so anyone that was servicing Williams steppers from the 1970s would be a good resource for you to go and learn. It does require disassembling things completely and being able to put those units back exactly how you took them apart. So I really would recommend reading and watching and learning before you attempt to do that process. But generally when you're working on an electromechanical game, since it can't think, the only way it can keep track of things is by those steppers that keep position. And if that game is not able to achieve a certain state it's looking for, it will do all sorts of wacky stuff. And that's generally where you'll start. So,
Do you have a resource? Because you said reading, learning.
yeah,
and
look at Clay Harrell's guides, pinrepair.com, go to pinwiki.com.
There you go.
I think it's com, not org.
Yep,
I've
and
done some
then,
videos on servicing Williams hotline steppers. They're going to be different because those are from the 60s.
And that's on YouTube, right?
That's on YouTube.
It's a little
yeah.
bit different. And then I also posted the stepper unit rebuild and cleaning video that Mark from Mark's Basement did on the stage at Midwest Gaming Classic.
Yeah,
Which
so you
was
can,
a
even,
nice
I think he
little-
was maybe
you can get
using
tips from
Bally
that
or
as far as
Gottlieb
just-
stuff,
yeah, to
but
clean
the
it.
principles will be similar. So learn principles and then apply it and learn specifics.
spinner-
Yeah, what's the pinball profile question? Hey, thanks for joining.
Are they
by
the
way.
same? Pinball profile asks the Marco item A3460 is a spinner listed for Bally. Looks like it would work for an older Stern like Ollie or Flight 2000. Are they the same?
I don't think so. I think the Stern spinners actually have a different bend.
Like the
in the
wire form's a bit
form,
different.
But I
Yeah.
also may be 100% wrong. I don't have any Stern. I have my Sea-Witch, but it's all wrapped up right. I'm pretty sure they're different. I have some Stern spinners at home, and I have some Bally spinners at home. I could match them up, but I'm pretty sure that the wire form might hang different. That being said, that is like OEM to OEM. In real-world situations, you may very well be able to swap a Bally spinner into a Stern bracket, and it would be just fine. So your mileage may vary, but yeah. Hi,
Nice.
Ski Dude. That one only spins in reverse. Oh yeah, that too. It only spins in reverse. That's
Yep, it is. Thank you, Daniel and Colin. Okay, last question of the day is what beers on the tap for Thirsty Thursday?
I will be going and picking up my beer from Beer Keller today. They just finished brewing their Weiss beer, which is a nice, wheat-infused beer. Very tasty. I'm trying to not drink all the beer I bought for you, Colin. Steve has also purchased some beers for you, so we should be sending you a Thirsty Thursday package soon. Steve, what's on the Thirsty Thursday menu for you?
Wild Leap Chance
Wild Leap Chance, a tasty IPA. I had one of those.
out of Georgia.
Out of Georgia. Are you Thirsty Thursdaying? Are you going to have an alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic beverage, perchance?
I probably will have an alcoholic beverage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Of what flavor?
Of the agave flavor.
Nice. Yeah, tequila's always good.
Agave tequila beer.
Beer Keller.
Kung Shu said Beer Keller or Meek Keller? Meek
Beer Keller. I
Beer
love
Keller.
McKellar.
Beers. Hey, funky fresh
Oh, hey.
bread.
Wait, check it out. Just as a funny. Wait, here, I'll use the small camera.
Yeah.
I actually have a McKellar sticker on my toolbox from the one that I went to in Berlin on Torstrasse. That was a fun bar. It was funny because there was like a bunch of Japanese tourists in there, like trying Danish IPAs, and it was very multicultural in a way that I thought was enjoyable. Hey, Fred, what's up, man?
Nice. All right, y'all. Well, thanks so much for joining
Wait,
us.
one more
Thank
thing.
you.
One more thing. I do want to say, I see Rebel Dog in here. We will be going to Southern Fried unless pinball and electricity goes away, I'm pretty sure. But I also, this is the first stream we've done since we've lost our glorious leader. And I wanted to say thanks to, a lot of people that reached out to me specifically, for condolences and like the massive outpouring of love that the entire pinball community has like dumped on us after Mark passed away. If it wasn't for Mark, like none of us would be here. And a lot of these games also would not be here working. So, when y'all are playing pinball tonight, definitely, pour one out for the homie. Cheers to Mark,
Cheers to Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. And if y'all missed our tribute show for him Tuesday night, we did an awesome watching some never before seen footage with Mark, and
was
he
very
talks
cute.
all about his passion for pinball and why he spent his entire life keeping pinball alive.
You get to
And
see
why
some
that
cool
was important
shots
to him, so.
Also inside the Marco warehouse, which is fun.
Yeah.
You get to see Mark's, the almost all of his life work there, and yeah, it's pretty cool, especially like the trust and belief he had in us to like do this program, which is really fun. We're still doing it.
Right. He was incredibly passionate about what Marco TV could bring. Incredibly passionate about
everything
everything
he liked.
that he thought Marco could bring to this world, and that was something that was infectious, I think. So,
We've already rated.
We're rating? Oh, where are we rating?
Pinballers.
Wait, did we rate?
How did it happen? I didn't click it yet.
Oh.
It went over. We're still on.
Oh, well,
Here.
okay. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're
I guess we
fine.
weren't talking to our Twitch people, but please continue
No,
your thought just for the thoroughness of it.
You're fine. That was just it.
Yeah, no, it's just, yeah.
Oh, are we not? What? Are we live?
No, we're still live.
We are live.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
wonderful.
still-
People here. We're just not live on Twitch, so.
The only thing that I was gonna say was and it's unfortunate, obviously, because I didn't have half as much time as most people did getting to know Mark. But the things that I did get to talk to him with, and we got to discuss our passions and what we envisioned was the future and what we could do. Man, was he full of passion. God,
Yeah.
he was one of the most passionate, and it was infectious because he would constantly get excited about things that he cared about, and Marco was definitely his heart and soul. So it's really nice to still be, obviously trying to make that a thing and
Continue the legacy, right?
yeah.
So everyone, if you want to be like Mark, go put solar panels on your house, go buy a Tesla, and love the hell out of pinball. That's it. So anyways, thanks. We had to get a little sappy. So anyways, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for being here, Kim. That was really awesome.
Thank you.
I'm glad
Thank
you
you for
came on the show.
thank you for having me. I derailed the conversation only 20 times.
Well, it's okay. I mean, I only do it like 1,000 times a show, so it's.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So next week we are doing our special PinTech Live feature with Stern Pinball. We're going to be looking at the Godzilla Premium with lead engineer Harrison Drake. So we're going to deep
that
dive
smile.
into the game, look
It is a nice
under
smile.
the play field, look at the mechs, maybe get some cool CAD images and drawings and designs. So that'll be a great show next week. So please tune in for that. And of course, we'll have our big live stream giveaways then too.
Have your questions ready for Harrison.
Yes. He is excited.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Now, we
that's
may
it.
have rated or we may not have rated. I guess we're done.
Wait, who are we rating?
Or who did we rate?
We are going to raid Pinballers.
Oh.
That's who we're going for.
And for everyone on Facebook and YouTube, thanks for joining us. If you want to participate more in the chat, then join us on Twitch. It's completely free. And as we set up that raid, here again is our free
Kiki.
24-hour domestic
Okay.
shipping code and $10 off international shipping for orders over $99. Use code, all caps, PT-on location.
I think Twitch is having a
And then
seizure.
somehow
We are
I ended
rated
up back
pinballers
here.
And we're back.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it switched over to pinballers, and I was like, I guess we're done.
Well, Kiki, do you love me?
Welcome back.
Let's go
Welcome
to
back.
pinballers.
We need a Drake's pinball machine. Bye, everybody.
We do. Bye.
All right, goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.